Everybody, my name is Gable, and for my senior project, I decided to build and design a 10 by 10 gable roof shed out of wooden material. These were some of the tools that I used to build this project. I used the sawzall I used to cut in places where I couldn't fit the skill saw. I used this to nail the paper and the asphalt shingles on the roof, and I applied these nails to install it. I used this framing gun, nail gun, 3-inch nails to frame everything that was 2x4 and thicker wood. And I used these 2.5-inch nails to put the siding. This square right here helped me find the angles for my rafters, and I used it to make straight cuts. This weird looking tool right here I used to install brackets, and that's about it. The skill saw, I used it to cut 2x4s faster, and these are my bags. They help me carry tools around without having to going down and get more tools. My hammer that I used, and these were the 3 types of levels. This was a torpedo. I used it in smaller pieces of wood that I leveled out, and I used this one and this for larger ones. And this chalk line I used to cut straight lines and to cut my siding. First, I began by designing the model of the shed I was going to build. Then I graded out a 10 by 10 pad where I was going to start building. I then spread out the gravel and put 9 piers, 1 every 4 feet, as my base. I then put 3 4x6 beams to help support the floor joist. And before I got any further, I made sure everything was square and nailed together. After I put the plywood on the base, I framed up the 4 walls. When I had them framed, I had my dad help me hold up the plywood. I had a lot of trouble because I didn't have the extra hand to help me out holding things in place. When I got to the roof, I started watching YouTube videos, and that really helped me, although it took a lot of patience. Another problem I had was that the cost of my shed turned out to be more than expected. The estimated cost I had calculated was no more than $1,500. I ended up spending close to $2,000, including the final touches. Although this project could have been done in less time, it took me 1 to 2 months to frame everything up to the walls and put up the siding, and I used up all the material I had, and that was when this pandemic started. After the pandemic, I lost my job and wasn't sure when I was going to start working again or what circumstances I was going to face, so I held off on buying the material for the roof. And a couple weeks later, I got a job with a general contractor and was getting paid pretty good. That's when I decided to finish buying the last material I needed to complete my shed. My goal was to build this shed for my dad to store all his concrete work tools and for my bikes. Some changes that I made on my shed were that I was going to install a 3x3 window on the front, but I found it unnecessary since it was for storage, so I decided to use that wall to put a shelf and be able to fit more tools inside. I noticed that as weeks passed by, I started seeing more progress, and that motivated me to complete it. I will now be giving you guys a tour of inside of the shed. I bought a steel door, so pretty durable, and pretty much all I need is the doorknob. This wall was where I was going to build the 3x3 window right about here, but I ended up putting up this shed that I that I built out of used material from this plywood that I had extra from the floor, and this 2x6. I will now be showing you guys where the landscaping tools are. I will now be showing you guys a slideshow of the process.